So, good afternoon. What we're going to be starting a new series on experiential marketing. This series will be called as Experiential Talk. So, I'm going to be basically involving brand managers, HR managers, all those people who are actually involved with customer-centric activities. So, I'm going to be involving them, talking to them about their experience on experiential marketing or providing experience to the customers. And we all know experience is emotion, and emotion is what sells in the market. So today in this journey, we are going to be talking to Mr. Raghu Rajaram, who is the founder of Knowble Minds, and he has a rich and diverse experience in experiential marketing, so to call. He has handled multiple brands. He has a great stint in Kevin Care, Sterling, and Akshaya. I think we should ask him, what is his experience and what is his journey in all this brand management. So Raghu, welcome to the show, and we are going to be starting this show. I think it's an auspicious day today, on a Monday working day. We are going to be talking about this. So I want you to introduce about yourself in a couple of lines of it. What your experience is in digital marketing. Over to you, Raghu.
Sure. Thanks, Bala, for the wonderful introduction, and good evening all. So I am Raghu Rajaram, founder of a digital marketing agency called Knowble Minds. So before myself becoming an entrepreneur, I had a good 12-year stint in the corporate career. So when I say corporate career, I have had the opportunity and the blessing to handle brands like Kevin Care, Sterling Resorts, Akshaya Homes. So I had a very detailed stint with Akshaya Homes. Then I moved on to a company called Grand Housing, where I again headed marketing over there.
Great.
So throughout this 12 years, if you see, I have had the opportunity to host events, handle events, and manage events, which are basically the customer touch points, right? So whenever customer wants to interact with a particular brand, I will be the point of contact for the company to host an event and organize for the events for them. So that journey has been quite wonderful, and that is something which gave me the rich experience to start an organization on my own. So I would put it that way.
So you have seen the best of both worlds, the corporate side of it, and then being an entrepreneur in the same time.
Exactly. So being in the corporate side has actually helped me. So today, being at the agency side, I know exactly how a corporate world operates, and it actually gives me an edge to convince them, interact with them in a better communication manner. So all those things.
Great. Good to have you, Raghu Kumar. So welcome on board. So we will get into the. It's going to be an interview session where I'm going to be pick some thoughts from Mr. Raghu Rajaram on various aspects of experiential marketing. So the first question is to what do you think is the role of experiential marketing? Is it key to brand events or the promotion campaigns, Raghu?
All right. So more than ever, Bala, I think the role of experiential marketing becomes very, very critical in the post-pandemic world, right? So the world, as you know, is evolving day by day, faster than ever. So whichever marketing trends and whichever marketing methodologies worked before the pandemic, they are not working now because you simply don't have the opportunity to try out all the marketing methodology right now.
Yeah.
So what I find as a digital marketer and as a company who is serving so many clients, today the consumer has got so much time at his disposal, more than ever. So you take any product, for example, be it a mobile or be it a consumer durable or be it a television, he has a million options in his hand, and all the information are also at his disposal. So at some point he is going to realize that apart from the brand and the price point at which a particular brand operates, every other factor actually becomes a hygiene factor. So you expect certain things to be there with the brand, and every brand is actually going to have that. So what is that one thing which is going to differentiate your brand is going to be the experiential marketing scope.
Yeah.
So whether you're going to do a physical experiential marketing or whether you're going to cater it through virtual experiential marketing, it is completely up to you. But what is irrefutable is that you have to be in the space of experiential marketing so that the customer has your brand at the top of his consideration set. So that is my point of view on that.
Great. As I said, I think experience is emotion and emotion is what it says. So it's very, very personal. Experience is personal, which is not duplicatable. And I mean, that's what makes people to decide about. There is a famous saying, people buy for emotional reasons and then give logical reasons for their purchase behavior. So I think
correct. In fact, there is a very famous study from Harvard University, which says not just with respect to marketing, any decision in the world is actually an emotional decision.
Got it.
You might do 100, rational comparison between two products or a million products.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, the decision you take, it is only because of your emotional quotient. And experiential marketing is going to take you there.
Got it. Great. So that leads us to the next question, Raghu. I mean, I'm sure like you would have done close to 100 plus events and promotion campaigns and all that. But if I have to ask you, if you have to pick a top 3 most successful campaigns from your entire journey of 12 years, what would those be, and what were the kind of impact you could create with those campaigns?
Right. So I had my longest stint in my corporate career with Sterling Resorts. So almost 6 years of stint I had there. So Sterling Resorts, it is a holiday company, right? And holiday is all about experiences. Now, the challenge which the sales team in the city faced was that you had to go and convince a customer about a resort and an experience that he or she is going to experience only at the resort.
Got it.
So apart from the brochures and the sales tool, you really didn't have anything to show him or make him experience, what is it going to be.
Got it.
So as a part of the marketing team, I had the opportunity to create something called as the Holiday Worlds.
Okay.
So Holiday World is something like a mock-up of the holiday resort that you create inside the city. It can be a shopping mall, or it can be a standalone outlet of your own company. Great. Where you create a mock-up of a holiday resort and invite customers there. So when a customer comes there and kind of experiences how the resort in Goa is going to look like, or how the resort in Kodai is going to look like, when you are able to give that experience in Chennai or in Madurai, then you have closed the deal. So that is something which we successfully did it at Sterling Resorts, and so which always used to give us more and more conversions at those holiday worlds. So that is one thing which I would always call it as a very, very successful campaign what we did. Second is with Akshaya houses. Akshaya homes. So since we are into realty business, here again you will have to give the customer some experience of how and what is that you can expect at the end of the construction completion and the delivery. So because the construction companies, the real estate companies, they sell you a house even before they start the construction.
Absolutely. Yes.
So you will have to have 100% conviction before even buying that you are buying a good product. So in reality, one thing that is very famous is called the FairPro Expo. So pre-pandemic, it used to happen every year in the month of February in Chennai Trade Center, where the realtors and their companies are allowed to come and display their stalls. So inside the stall, it is completely up to you on how you project your projects. So one thing what we did different was that in an expo where at least 70 realtors come and show their houses and properties and how it looks and everything. We just gave a small twist to the tail and we made it look like a multiplex.
Okay.
So Akshaya's stall, it looked like a multiplex. So people were really curious to know about what is a multiplex doing in amidst reality expo. So what is it going to be there? So multiplex, you always have to open the door to go inside your theater, go inside the screen. Only then you will know what is inside. So similarly, it was a completely closed stall. It looked like a multiplex. So once you open it and go in, there were 7 screens.
Okay.
Not to disappoint the audience, there were 7 screens, 7 huge 85 inches Samsung LED TV screens were there. Okay. And each screen displayed the details of each project.
Great.
So that was something, very, very different we did. And to stay true to the concept, anybody who came in, we gave him a tub of popcorn. That is something which you get in a theater, right? So anybody who walks into the stall, they got
the captive audience.
Exactly. So kids loved it mainly. So kids loved it. Parents couldn't deny their kids, who wanted to come in again and again. So many people came in, and again we got quite a few, conversions on those 3 days of
that's very interesting.
Event. So that is something interesting we did. And when I moved to Grand Housing, which is again a realty company, similarly this was in 2020 FairPro, just before the pandemic struck the world. So in the month of February we had it. So there again I had to think different. So what we did was we introduced a boxing ring in the FairPro. So again that was very, very disruptive. So people, that is the last of the thing which you would expect in a reality expo, having a boxing ring inside a reality expo. So people wanted to know what it is. So when you come in, every person was supposed to give a knock to the punching bag. Okay. And whatever points he had, that points was proportional to the discount he or she is able to get.
Great.
So that is some twist, again we gave it. So that again became very, very experiential. We clicked some instant photography, gave them that instant, photography to them. We invited quite a few, famous boxers who were in the city. They had the opportunity to click a photograph with them. So we made it complete experiential thing, so that, again, we had the maximum footfalls for the year 2020 for the Fat Pro. So these are the top 3 experiential campaigns which I would always say about.
Brilliant. I think every campaign is different. I mean, the first campaign I remember, I'm able to draw parallels. I mean, IKEA did that in Europe. Okay, so they had their customers, prospective customers. I think they had, couple of customers. They've been invited to sleep inside the IKEA store. So use the mattress. I mean, they did that for a bed, cot and a mattress. I think it's a combo of cot. So the entire, the audience or the participant, they spent the entire night inside this IKEA store, sleeping in the cot or the mattress, whichever they want to prefer. And they had series of activity in the night, like, there was some music, there was somebody like telling a story, and all that. I think that's what really makes people to really, that's what makes your brand different. How far you are able to go beyond the normal, set of campaigns. Yeah.
True.
So it's very, very interesting campaigns. I think really good to know that you've really gone beyond your normal Call of Duty to really get to the customers' thing. I mean, there might be definitely. I mean, we all have being part of an event company. I think we have also done a lot of activities and all that. But there are some campaigns which we really feel that this is definitely do well, and then at the end of the day we see that there is a complete we misread the campaign, misread the audience, and then lots of effort gone in, but then it does not turn out the way it has to be. Is there any one campaign or a couple of campaigns you want to talk about where you think, okay, this is what we read, we thought this campaign would be very, very great success, but ultimately did not do well in the box office, so to call?
Sure. See, as a marketer, I believe this is the case with almost 99% of the marketers in the country. You would definitely have more failures than your successes. So that is definitely going to be a case.
Otherwise, you're not experimenting.
Absolutely, correct. Yeah. So again, I would like to go back to my stint at Sterling Resorts, where we did so many campaigns which kind of coincided with the famous occasions, like you have Mother's Day, you have Father's Day, you have Women's Day. So we did so many campaigns, which kind of coincided with that, and the theme was also in line with those days. So we did so many things like that. But the reason why I think those campaigns did not click really well, like the other holiday campaign or the holiday world did, why these campaigns did not click was that, one, it was really not very different to what other people are trying to do. So in terms of being very different or being unique, we failed. So that is one thing which I can definitely attribute to. Second thing is, like I always keep saying, whichever campaign you do, that has to have some connect back to your brand, or some connect back to your category or the industry where you're operating. So that again I think was missing in the entire holiday calendar. What we prepared and just for the sake of having days, we had a Mother's Day celebration, Father's Day celebration. So all those things never clicked. Whereas when you have a holiday world which actually connects back to the brand and the experience that you provide, that actually clicked. So that is something which didn't work out for me.
Oh, that's a great line. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, one more thing, Raghu. I mean, see, how do you measure the success of a campaign? I know, walk-ins and couple of distinctive matrices are like your walk-ins, telecalls and all that. But how do you really put together a kind of saying, okay, these are the matrices. If you do, then you can measure the success of a campaign. What are the various matrices which are important in a campaign?
Right. So Bala, campaigns are always done towards an objective. So before doing any campaign, you always have an end objective towards which you backwork and design the campaign. So in the case of this holiday world experiences, what we created in Sterling Resorts, we wanted conversion as the end objective. Okay. So Sterling Resorts, it is a very famous company. In fact, they were the pioneers of timeshare in India. Yes. So people know the brand. You conduct a marketing campaign, people will respond to the brand and people will walk it. So we had absolutely no issues with that. Where we actually had the challenge was in conversion. So people who are coming in, people who are hearing our presentation pitch, they were looking at the brochures, but conversions were not happening. So we found out it is actually the experience that matters. So once we give that experience, then people are ready to sign up and people are coming on board. So there, the single unison objective was conversion. So out of every 10 people come, can I convert at least 2 or 3?
Got it.
So that was the objective. Whereas in the other 2 examples that I quoted, it was merely walk-ins. So for example, if you take Credai Fair Pro, 20,000 people are going to walk in those 3 days. That is given.
I know.
Because as a company, you are not going to market. Credai is going to market.
I know.
So they are going to bring 20,000 footfalls. But there the challenge is, how many of those 20,000 is going to walk into your stall?
And retain your brand.
Correct. And recall your brand. Correct.
Recall your brand. Yeah.
Because at the end of 2 days, 79 realtors are going to call them. And they are not going to remember in which stall they saw what and what project. So it is absolutely essential that you stay very, very different, you stay very, very differentiated and disruptive for them to remember you even after some 6 months or 7 months.
Right.
So that was the objective with which we designed those Fair Pro themes, and that was again a success because it was very, very different. We had the most walk-ins in 2019 and 2020, and that actually solved the purpose. So any objective of your campaign will be, what is the end result you want to achieve, and what is it you desire. If you backward, you can really achieve it.
Great. So you're saying, the planning, the objective, the planning or the matrices has to be decided before the campaign is being decided.
Absolutely.
So that we can always measure it vis-a-vis, what is the success.
Yes.
Absolutely agree on that. But is there any one campaign or couple of campaigns which you think, which you did not do, maybe your competitor did, or completely different industry would have done, and then you thought, this is one campaign I think if I had done for my brand also, it's like typical, if you ask a celebrity, right, cine actor, he will say, this role I think I should have also got, this movie I should have got. Right? So is there any campaign you think of in which is
sure? I see. I can think of a lot of a lot of campaigns in my mind, but one campaign which would always remain like my wish list, top of my wish list, which at someday I would definitely do it for either my brand or one of my clients' brand is there is a brand called Heineken, right? It's
I know. Yeah.
Famous beer brand, and Heineken as a brand is known for the fun, thrill, and adventure it gives. So that is how they position their brand as. So I think this was the year 2012 or 13 in a Europe market, right? So they selected an airport in a prime and a busy day where people just buzz walking in. In European countries, obviously it is an airport where your charters are scheduled for various countries. It's going to go. So there they had something called as the holiday roulette. So roulette is something you spin, right? You spin, and wherever the pointer points, that gift you win. So they had a holiday roulette where they will pick randomly somebody. So if you and I walk, they might pick Bala and ask you to punch that roulette. So if you punch it, it will show a destination name. Say for example, you are in the airport to go to Amsterdam, whereas you punched it and it appears as New York. So if you select to go, your entire trip is free.
Wow.
So it is about how adventurous you are willing to be. So most of the people denied. I think around some 600 people participated, and out of which some 500 plus people actually denied. Whereas some 70-80 people actually accepted. And they got the gift also. Yeah. So whichever country came in, whether it's New York or Seychelles or Maldives, wherever, they were fully funded and they went there.
Wow.
So this is some campaign which Heineken did in the year of 2012-13, and that always stays in my mind as one of the best experiential campaigns, and there is no better way to say that you are a fun and adventure loving brand. So that's one of my top campaigns that I would always have at the top of my wish list.
In fact, there is one similar campaign which I'm able to recall. There is one airlines, I forgot the name. I think it's Jet something. Okay, they also had something similar. What they did is they had this 150 odd passengers in the flight, and they surprisingly announced that all these 150 passengers, if you are able to come to a conclusion for a single journey, single destination,
good.
Okay. All of you will be taken there, free of cost in next couple of months, whatever the day. And this was basically to coincide with it was I think during the American election, pre-election time, where there was highly polarized kind of an environment, and they were trying to see reaching. The campaign was called Reaching Across the Aisle. That is, you can actually reach across the aisle and then talk about a midway solution or compromise and come to a kind of a common this thing. So they did this campaign with 150 passengers, completely unknown, completely candid, what you call campaign it was, where they said, okay, we are going to be actually talking about, if you are able to come to a consensus, we have a couple of menu card. They gave them a menu card with some I think 10-12 destination, and these guys were able to, these passengers were supposed to choose their leaders and come to a conclusion before the flight landed in the destination.
That's a surprise.
So within one and a half hour or 2 hours, whatever the journey or whatever that, I forgot the exact duration, they had to come to a conclusion to choose one particular destination. Okay. It could be international, it could be domestic, and all these passengers will be taken there free of cost. That's fantastic. One of the campaigns, successful campaigns which we can recall. I think I forgot the name of the airlines. I think this starts with Jet.
Nice.
Yeah, something similar. I think that we're talking about. Yeah. Great.
Really good. Yeah.
But see, most of the moment we talk about experiential campaign, the first thing which the client is afraid of is the cost. They say experiential marketing is very, very costly. And second thing they are afraid of that experiential marketing means it's like technology, AR, VR kind of thing. Do you think, can it be made cheaper? Can it be made affordable for every brand to, take it forward on a daily basis? See,
cheaper is a comparative term, right? So, and you definitely cannot always have the best of both the worlds. So, the moment you say experiential marketing, why it rings a bell in most of the people's mind is that it is going to be different. It is going to be different. It is going to definitely have an edge over all the other campaigns which the competition is doing, and definitely it is going to give more conversions. So from that perspective, experiential marketing in a live format, I always think it is going to be a little expensive. Whether you depend too much on technology or not, it is definitely going to be expensive. You can take the examples of the Holiday World, what I mentioned, or the Holiday Roulette, what Heineken did. It had nothing to do with technology. It is pure logic, and they connected back to the brand's positioning. So it absolutely had nothing to do with technology, but yes, it was a little expensive. But the end result, if you look at it, they might have had more conversions than any other marketing campaign in the last 5 years put together. So that is one positive thing with experiential marketing. Coming to talk about technology, yes, technology will become cheaper. So say for example, you are imagining a experiential campaign with X technology today. The cost of what it costs today will be definitely cheaper. Some 5 years later, technology, cost is definitely going to come down. But you should always be ready to spend a premium for experiential marketing, because the kind of results what you get are definitely going to be premium.
It's going to be long lasting. It's going to be last.
Yeah.
And of course, also once if the campaign is successful, it can also give you tractions on the social media. It becomes shareable. Experience is something which people share, as a story, such story. That's what is going to give you the market.
Absolutely. See, Heineken, they did the campaign in 2013-14. And I don't even think they marketed the campaign. They just had that one YouTube video and that became viral. And people like you and me still remember that. So that's the effect of experiential marketing.
Great. So I think it's like we have to look at only the cost going forward rather than cost of spending that day. Yeah, great. So do you think, since we spoke about cost, do you think, small and medium business houses, like not typically a corporate company, small and medium business houses or businessmen, can they also adapt or adopt this kind of a technology or this kind of an experiential campaign in their day-to-day activity?
Definitely, Bala. See, experience is only a scale, right? So experience, the scope and scale, there is actually no limit. So you can provide an experience inside a person's computer itself, or you can provide an experience by inviting that person to a shopping mall or to your showroom. So it is completely up to you. But what matters here is that the intent of the brand. So if the brand really intends to provide an experience that is going to be different to your competition, then definitely it is possible. For example, say if I'm a mobile shop owner, right, and I'm owning a particular mobile brand, then my kind of experience that I give to my customer will be very, very different. I can probably have a simple game and invite all the youngsters and freshers who are my basic target audience. So that is also an experience. So it really doesn't matter which product category you are in, as long as you have the intention to stay different and provide the customer with that long-lasting experience, then you can definitely do it.
Yeah, very rightly put. Then it's the intention and it's the the moving away from the regular campaigns and the ad, I mean, how far you are ready to, go and give that experience or the personal touch
Exactly.
to the customer, that intention is very, very critical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you see in the whole marketing, for example, if I have a marketing budget of 100 rupees as a marketing thing, how much do you think should be spent on these kind of campaigns in a percentage, largely, broadly, what kind of mix we should have?
So it is definitely going to differ category wise. If you are in the categories of say hospitality, like the holiday resorts, category like I told, realty, mobile technology, gaming, lifestyle products, consumer durables. So all these categories, your lion's share should actually go in experiential marketing, because these are all the products which the consumer is going to experience. And if your marketing statement or communication is going to get muted, you are not going to get there. So only when you invest a large portion of your marketing budget in experiential marketing, then you're going to get there. So for all these categories and whichever categories are related to lifestyles of a customer, then definitely a line share should go into experiential marketing.
So do you mean to say we should look at anything between say 50 to 60 to 70%?
Definitely.
Yep.
100%. Yeah.
And rest 30% should be on day-to-day mass market.
Correct. So that can be on the conventional marketing medium, where they are all recollection and reminder mediums.
Lead generation primarily.
Correct. Correct. That can always be.
And then do an experience.
Yes.
So, I mean, is there any tools or trends, which you see in the marketing? I mean, is there any specific tools you will use for, getting some insight about what is the right marketing campaign we should do or the right mix we should do and all that?
Being a digital marketing agency, we don't really require a tool to find this out. We can easily pick out from what our clients are doing. So right now, what's being the buzzword in the industry is the virtual events that is happening across the country and across the world. So you might not be in office, or you might not gather in groups to meet your peers and meet your colleagues, but employee recognitions are still happening across the country and across the world through virtual events. Consumer meets are happening across the world through virtual events. Big conferences, huge conferences where people from around the world gather at one point in time are happening across the world. Your famous award functions of Hollywood and other film industries are happening in a virtual manner. So these virtual events are something which is gathering momentum, and I think every other company should look at it as a serious opportunity to stay in touch with your consumers and your employee engagement, and that definitely has given results for most of the people.
So talking about events, since you also had have huge experience in that, where do you see the future of events and promotion going forward post pandemic? How much do you think that the virtual or physical is going to be the contribution, or physical, virtual event, how much do you think should be contributing to the overall industry?
See, events and these promotional conferences and all events of these kind, they are always going to have scope. Just that the format has differed now because of the restrictions and because of the pandemic that the world went through. The format is going to be different, but they definitely have a huge scope, because or else I don't see a reason why any company should have a virtual consumer meet, or a virtual channel partner meet, or a virtual employee engagement program. So if they really don't find a need, they wouldn't be doing it. But there is definitely a need for it, and there is definitely a avenue or a window like a virtual event organization who is going to render the service to them. So that is always going to be there. My one suggestion or advice to the managers, the event managers and the promo managers, is going to be stay with the trend. Just observe what the competition is doing, observe what other industries are doing virtually, what are all the new things and innovations that are happening in the virtual events domain, so that you can incorporate, you can learn it quickly, and you can do it for your own company. So that is something which is going to be a challenge for these managers, or else I don't see this particular industry going out of scope anywhere in near future.
Absolutely. Thanks. That's a very, very insightful. I also believe that as long as there are corporate companies, as long as you have teams to manage, you need to have conferences, you need to have celebrations, you need to have contests, you need to have challenges, you need to have ceremonies. So there is no way, you can do away with events, either this way or that way. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I know. So that was very, very interesting. For the people who are just watching this video, please share your inputs, how we can improvise on these experiential talks. And thanks, Raghu, for sharing your experience. I think you really, gave me a lot of insights about, typically, how a property or a real estate industry is going to be thinking about experiential marketing on using that in a stall. It's very, very important that, in a 79, 80 people who are there, realtors there, how do you discuss and how do you connect with the audience completely differently so that they can recall your brand? That's a very, very insightful suggestion. Great. Thanks, Raghu Kumar. Thanks, Raghu. It was great talking to you, and hope to catch you again in future sometimes, sharing more thoughts on this. Thank you very much.
Sure, but I always look forward to, and thanks so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you
much.
Thanks
Thank you much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All the best.